Hello.
Hello?
Hello. What's up, bro?
Hey, it's the What's Up Bro podcast. We talk movies, sports, TV shows, pop culture, and it's funny, mother. With Nary Signs. I'm like, what? How can this... They have Photoshop. Photoshop exists when this artist rendition was done. How the fuck is this not cooler looking than a sketch that looks like it was done by a hillbilly off the side of the road? What the fuck are we talking? Why is this a thing?
Welcome to the party, pal.
Steph, Onion Mayor Sr.
Yeah, I don't have to look for you.
Oh, no.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah!
And Mike Mercadal.
I'm just glad I like vanilla, boring sex like this. I'm glad that the sex I enjoy won't get me killed.
That's how winning is done.
Hey, I'm Dave Chappelle, and this is What's Up, Bro.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the What's Up, Bro podcast. I am Mike Mercadal. With me, as always, is not
Nary Signs.
Oh, we got to change this layout, I think.
Or as a captions.
We tried the new layout for all of 2 seconds.
Yeah, what happened to the layout? I like to, you don't want
Let's get up close and personal. Let's get real into our faces. Yeah. Okay. Great. With us is Nary Signs. Did I mess up something on the caption?
Well, no, the auto captions always get me as Mary Science.
Science.
That's what the captions always kept me as, yeah. The auto captions.
Favorite character.
And with us as always, with us today, and I hope more frequently and from around the world, Steph Bunny Mayer Sr.
Yes, I will be able to control my schedule and be on more often soon.
What a joy to have you. It's always nice when you're here. Otherwise, it's just me and Nary just battling back and forth, just talking shit like we were just be in the like when we used to hang out in his house with one microphone between us. Boy, have things changed.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that you make it seem as if it's a bad thing. You're like, otherwise, it would just be me and Nary. I'm like, oh,
just two friends hanging out. But honestly,
wait, was it one microphone?
Yeah, the microphone I'm still using, by the way.
The very beginning, yeah. I like the fact that Mike is like, the technology has changed so much, but also I still have the same microphone I was using 12 and a half years ago.
If it ain't broke.
It's true. Well, because it is how many podcasts now are literally just two dudes sitting in front of microphones across or from a room at each other? And I'm like, we paved the way. We did. We were originators, I think. Thank you to everybody who's joining us new, but also thank you to people who've been listening for 12 and a half years and still randomly see us on their podcast feed aggregator and are like, oh right, and then they move past.
Yes. Thank you to both of you, Izu and Rookie.
Yeah, to our dozen of listeners, we love you and thank you. Welcome this week.
We were so hard up for listeners that I married one of them.
That's accurate. And to be fair, technically so did I. Did you know that
Really?
My wife Chiquita,
I mean, mine was a total joke. I married my wife before we started the podcast, but I mean, I was just for the
because I met my wife on social media, not social media, on dating apps. My wife had a whole like decade of stuff to listen to know like reconnaissance. Like she pulled full recon. And
smart.
Yeah, she genuinely did research just to prove I was who I was. But genuinely, that feels like an unfair advantage. I think she kind of had more on me than I had on her. And,
did she go back to listen to specific episodes of your previous dating history? Because a lot of that made the podcast.
A lot of it did. Hold on.
She's like nervously. He's nervously. He's nervously looking.
How much do you know?
Did you go back and listen to podcasts that I talked about my dating history? She said not on purpose.
That's not a no.
That's not a no.
That's literally a yes. That's literally a yes.
That's a yes. If it ain't a no, it's a yes. But that's how we have all of this history where she was able to do full like a full CIA dossier of me.
Smart. You want to know who a guy is? Put him in front of a mic just with him and his friend, and then you'll be able to like. It's like peering into that locker room. You'll be like, what do you really think? When you have the end, like when. Well,
with me and Neri, it's more like peering into the locker room at Punchline Comedy Club.
Yeah,
the movie Punchline.
We're like it's the locker room that is set up to equip the equipment for the jocks in the locker room next to us.
Yes, exactly. You remember the equipment manager?
Just the manager.
Their locker room.
Right. Yes, yeah. Correct. It's more of an office. It's more of an office.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody who's been listening. Thank you, everybody we are live right now on Facebook, on YouTube, and available to rewatch on all those platforms, but also available on audio format. If you search for what the WuBro podcast on What's Up Bro podcast. Are we on WuBro pod or What's Up Bro podcast on everything?
WuBro pod is everything. Is on everything. Yeah.
Yes. You get that on all of for the audio format. If you're an audio listener listening in the future, welcome to the past, and you can join us and get in the comments where you can have your opinions and interact with us live. That's what we recommend.
If you're listening to us on the audio podcast, that's already too late. So just for the future reference, you could,
Just
you made it seem as if like if you're listening to us on the audio podcast, welcome to the past. You could join us in comments. You're like, no, that's not
for future episode. You're right. Disclaimer: we have to be very clear with our legal.
We have very unique technology.
Yeah, we could go back in time and
very specific and unique technology. We could take it back in time, but only in the comments.
And this amazing time travel technology is only available for this one podcast. We are squandering this technology to no extent. It's the worst use of it ever.
It's kind of like the movie Frequency, where you could we got to be
on one guy
on the CV radio. You got to be on a CV radio, and you got to be like, "Hey, Dad, the Yankees game, the Mets are gonna," and then you could be like that.
I want to combine this. Yeah, I'm struggling to remember that movie. Also,
Dennis Quaid.
You can call one guy to solve his murder, right?
No. It's Dennis Quaid and Jesus Christ, and Jesus is his son, but Dennis Quaid died in the past, so Jesus can talk to him via CB radio, but only because it's the same CB radio, but only because of, I swear to God, this is not. I'm not lying. I'm not adding anything to this. only because the
I
Aurora
imagine you're adding the
Borealis.
Jesus Christ part.
Well, the Jesus Christ is Jim Caviezel. I'm not adding anything.
He went on to play Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he went on to play Jesus Christ in a different film. All right, but the fact that he could talk to his dad because they're using the same CB radio, just 30 years apart, and the Aurora Borealis is closer to New York than it's ever been in like a certain time frame. So then that weird, the radio waves, man, makes weird things happen, and they could talk to each other in the past, and they solve fucking crimes together.
It's just science. I don't understand. It's not hard to believe. I don't know. If you learned a little bit more about science, Neri, you would understand. It's just a kind of a boring thing. It happens all the time.
I mean, watch the Lake House. You can hook up with someone via
Lake House. Still more believable than Frequency.
The Lake House has a magic. It's just because it's just a magic mailbox, right? It's just the Lake House is just magic mail. Done. Full all explanations covered.
No jump needed in science.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite thing is that in the past, that guy Jim Caviezel was talking to himself in the past, and he goes, "Tell your best friend, your neighbor, just tell him one word, Google," and that's. And then he ends up investing in Google, and then he becomes a millionaire, and it's like, oh well, okay, that's fair.
That's the way. That's literally every time travel story. That's like if I had access to time travel, there's no way you could not get me to gamble. Right, like there's no way that you could stop me from gambling. I mean, like that, like I know on the weird. I would be that guy in Vegas that they're like that's betting on like Oscar movies and like weird niche things where it's like oh, did you know that they released the odds for the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight?
Yes. They've done that for a while. Mike Tyson is not favored to win.
This is money laundering. It's fucking money. I have a lot of thoughts about it, but we have to get to. That was not what we intended to talk about today. I wanted to talk about. I went to Disneyland finally, and I have thoughts about Disneyland versus Disney World. We can talk about that. We also wanted to talk about. Seinfeld has some thoughts about PC culture. What a fucking shock! Oh no! What a surprise!
What a maroon!
And I had no idea this happened until all of the clips came out. But the roast of Tom Brady, I had zero idea that they were roasting.
It was live. It was live on Netflix, and it was almost 3 hours. And I watched it live.
So Netflix is getting into. We'll do the turn. We'll start from the end. So wait, you're saying the roast of Tom Brady? Netflix is starting to do these live broadcast things.
It's already been doing it, but yeah, it's already been doing it.
What have they been?
They've already been doing live events. So they've already been doing live sporting events, live tennis. They have a contract with the WWE. They have a contract with the WWE beginning in, I believe, late December or early January next year. I forget which is which. The WWE Raw will be on Netflix live. So every few years the WWE changes their network. So at one point it was TNT. Before that it was
USA for the longest time.
USA for a bit. Yeah. So all of this, and then now they're going to. Right now they're on CW, if I'm not mistaken. I forget where they are right now. And then they're going to be going to Netflix. But Netflix has been doing live for a little bit now. They've been certain things have been going live. Sporting events. Is the main
because I know that Amazon started doing that. Apple TV has been doing that with like soccer. Apple TV is putting a shit ton of money into MLS. They're like to broadcast or whatever to live broadcast soccer. So now keep
trying to push it on me. Like every time I go to Apple TV, they're like, we have. I'm like, get the fuck out. Like swipe left or whichever direction it is that I don't like. Get away from me. I don't want fucking soccer. I don't give a shit about soccer.
I actually like soccer. I liked watching the NYCFC when I was in New York, and it's a lot of fun because a lot of my friends in New York, one of my friends, Will Carey, had season tickets and you go to like Yankee Stadium and you watch them play in Yankee Stadium, and I like it, but even then I don't know, like to me I have the same problem with basketball, I have the same problem with baseball. I love watching those sports, but because football is on Sunday and it's like one game a week, and that's it. There's like, I have trouble following when there's too many games going on.
I love the fact that you're like, it's one game a week. It really isn't one game a week. There's really 14 games a week.
Listen, I'm talking about each. If you want to follow a team, there's one game. There's like each week is a game. Yeah, sometimes it's on a Thursday.
There's an entire business model designed around following every game of the week. There's an entire network, like there's an entire like red zone where you watch every single game. And Mike, you and me you're the old school. You're going with the old model of like watch one episode at a time and 1 week at a time, and then release it once. And I'm just like no, give all of it to me. Just give it all. And then you're like, no, but I'm talking about follow one team. And I was like, nobody does that anymore.
It's because I only care about one team, and the rest is just watching football. Like, which is like not that investment.
The rest is just amazing.
It is. I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying
you literally said the rest is just watching football. Like just like it's
right. Like just like I like just it's like no. Like I watch the Dolphins. I follow the Dolphins, but I watch football, not any other team. You know what I mean? Like whatever's on. You know, or you go on Red Zone and you watch all the teams at the same time, and that is the best because then you're just watching everything. But when it's the Dolphins, I watch the Dolphins. Now, for these things like Netflix and all that stuff, can you go back and watch it now? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like
I started watching the roast an hour. I was like 40 minutes behind, meaning that I started 40 minutes ago. And then in my mind, I was like, well, I already missed 40 minutes of it. I'll go back and watch. I'll go back and watch it tomorrow. And then I was just like, nah, let me just go back now. And I literally just got the little cursor, moved it all the way back, and just started 40 minutes late.
So it's you can okay.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say, Steph?
I have a question. When it comes to the roast, when did we start like roasting just sports people, like regular? I thought it was always comedians and like comedic actors and
we've
certain like
certain kind of entertainers.
They roasted Donald Trump. They roasted Flavor Flav. Pamela Anderson.
I always thought it had to be like entertainers, but I guess it's just like pop culture kind of.
Yeah, it's.
But I mean, entertainers is such a broad term now. It's going to be. We're 3 weeks away from roasting a YouTuber. I mean, it's going to happen.
Well, they roasted Muhammad Ali. They roasted back in the day too. They roasted Muhammad Ali. They roasted, like a lot of people. Like it's kind of a thing of just anybody of note, like a note. Okay. Yeah. Oh, speaking of the roast of Pamela Anderson, also the Met Gala also happened. I know you wanted to talk about it.
Yes,
Sarah. You have a lot of thoughts. Pamela Anderson showed up, no makeup, right? Like she's just like barefaced, super. Like
no makeup and no fillers.
No makeup, no nothing, just pure natural Pamela Anderson looking her age, which I thought was kind of like
an image,
kind of badass, like kind of,
I love how that within itself is kind of counterculture at this point.
Yeah. Let me see, where can I find?
I try to find an image of her.
Keep talking about things. I gotta find.
I would, except I can't hear Neri at all.
Oh, we lost Neri.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
So I love the fact that she did that. Like, to me, I find it weird that it makes news. Like, and I know some people are gonna be like, it's so brave of her, and it's like, okay, but she just like, it's just weird. We live in such a weird society where a dude that comes out without any fillers doesn't make news, and it shouldn't. I don't think it should make news that Pamela Anderson is a beautiful woman with or without makeup. It's weird that it makes news is all.
I'm sorry,
yes,
I'm wrong.
But like it does come up. What?
She broke her no makeup on the red carpet trend streak or whatever for the Met Gala. But also, just for the record, it says, she's 56 years old. Mm-hmm. So she's allowed to look however the fuck she wants, right? Like, and she still looks great. She looks amazing.
She's a fucking icon in so many ways. Like, there's so many, like, I like, again, that's why I find it weird that as a society we like this this matters to us for some reason. And I'm like, well, let her. She's fucking 56.
well,
She's an
kind of-
icon. She could do whatever the
No,
fuck she wants. Why are we
but-
making this a thing?
But it's not that we're making it. It is a thing publicly in pop culture for that to be. It's $1 billion.
Well, I mean socially.
Industry.
I
Wait,
mean
hold on. Let me get my
socially,
point out.
yeah.
So for her to have been who she was in the 90s, this kind of icon of like
Glam.
plastic beauty and like the blonde bimbo kind of like fake boobs, all this stuff that was like very seen as very artificial. For her to take that kind of, and you know, I understand what she's, you know, what it would mean to like if suddenly a steroid monster, like if Barry Bonds just comes out and starts playing baseball all natural again, it would be a statement. It shouldn't be, because the sport should just be people being athletes and not drugging themselves. But it's like a statement of the artificial versus the natural, which I fucking get it. I understand what she's doing. And also for it to have been her identity for so long, to reclaim it as like, hey, I'm an adult woman who's aged normally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. For her to be like, I'm not just that image you had of me of this one particular time and place. Yeah, I think it's not necessarily people put it out there like, oh, it's brave, it's this, it's that, but it does maybe sadly make its own point. Like Alicia Keys was
and that's
doing
what
that
I'm
for
saying.
ages,
I
too,
think
she was going barefaced.
It goes to, again, I'm not saying I think it's great, but I think it's weird that it makes news. Like when it's becoming less and less like this, but like remember when in the 90s and the aughts when a famous person would come out with their sexuality, would come out of the closet, and that would make news. I found it weird then. I was like, why is this news? Who gives a fuck who they like? Like, it's a weird thing that society has found it important to focus on this thing. Now, again, I think it's important because back then, and especially in the 90s and the aughts, you come out, it gives strength to those people to be able to come out, you know, on their own. And, you know, that's great. But I'm just talking about, like, she's beautiful. She's a model. She's an actress. She's super famous. She's iconic. If she doesn't want to wear makeup, who the fuck? Let her do whatever the fuck she wants without criticism or critique. And it's
right.
weird.
I think
for the most part, people are actually supporting. Like,
no, I'm not saying that it's not supportive. I'm not saying that it's not supportive. I'm saying that I think it's weird that it makes news. Like, this is on CNN.
I do think it's important to note that your opinion and the recognizing that it, like, oh, I think it's dumb versus the world, like the world makes it not, like, it's dumb. It should not be the way that it is, but there's entire industries built on making it that way. So of course it is. Like, there's a difference between recognizing that, oh, someone coming out in the 90s when Ellen came out in the 90s on her show and everybody lost their mind, and then it being like, oh, that's not a big deal for me. That's very different than than saying it's not a big deal for the world.
I agree. I think that was, and again, like I said, I was trying to say, I think that's a bad example on my part, because that was they gave a lot of hope for a lot of people.
Right, that like that's also, but for women who look, when someone is viewed as like sexually or sexually attractive, or someone owning their sexuality as an older woman, that matters because historically it was. The second you turn 30, you don't get you're cast as the mom and everything. You're like Meryl Streep said that the year she turned 40, she got offered, like, every part she got offered was a witch. And then she's like, I mean, that kind of says something about Hollywood and how they feel about turning 40. And it's you know, like
the female romantic leads are only ever allowed to be at what age, but the men can keep growing up. Like, that was a huge thing in movies for ages. Like, it's very rare that you actually get to see women of a certain age like being any kind of romantic lead.
Yeah, that's how it is now with my favorite porn. My favorite porn topic is Stepmom Witch.
Stepmom Witch. Meryl Streep's over 40.
Yes, it's a Stepmom Witch.
Is it a musical?
It's the grandmother witches category that really does it for me.
I mean, look how progressive
is it, like, Into the Woods,
really?
but porn.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of like Will Watkins had a joke where he's like, I'm not going to be happy with progress until our ballots look like Pornhub category selections. Fantastic. Where it's like, oh, you're nominating a black man to run for president. I want, and then he starts listing off like this. I want one person who's a trans dominatrix, Asian, like
I want an Asian
variety.
dwarf. I want an Asian dwarf on top of it was great. I would do that. By the way, Into the Woods porn is called Onto the Wood or On This Wood.
It was just you had to. It was brewing in the back of your head. You're like, I had to.
I didn't want to interrupt Mike. I was like, oh, I got one. I got it.
I know.
I got
He's got one in the chamber. He's excited about it.
Onto
Could they sing it? Yeah.
This wood.
I'm good. I come.
Singing it.
So the roast was fantastic. It was a live event, live on Netflix. I'm very much enjoying that. The roast was great. I will say I wasn't the biggest fan of. They had, I think, too many athletes performing, and I get it that Tom Brady's an athlete, so I get it that you have to have some athletes. And nowadays, athletes, everybody has a podcast. Athletes are all now entertainers outside of the field or a field of play.
Thank you, Kelsey brothers.
Yeah. So that I understand where that's coming from, but I just found that I think you need a couple of pivotal athletes in there. Like, for example, and again, I'm not picking on him, but Randy Moss, there's no reason Randy Moss should have ever done a roast. He maybe should have been on the side to acknowledge his existence and his tribute to the team, to Tom Brady, but he is awful on the microphone. He's always been awful on the microphone, and it showed. That was a glaring weak spot in the lineup. You're like, oof, boy, that. And again, you have one of those every roast. You have somebody who's like, that didn't go well.
Somebody who eats it. Like, who was it? It was oh man, I don't know why she was there, but Ann Coulter. Remember when Ann Coulter got up there and tried to roast? I think
Ann Coulter was fantastic because it basically became the roast of Ann Coulter.
Sure.
Fucking great. But that's what everybody said. That's what everybody was like. Why is Ann Coulter here? Like, she got smashed, and it was like the greatest jokes of that night were against Ann Coulter. I'll be honest with you, I was so dumb. I learned who Ann Coulter was that night at the roast.
I do gotta say, I am not a fan of...
This is not the Tom Brady roast, by the way.
I was gonna ask him, like, what the fuck is she doing at the Tom Brady roast?
She's not at the Tom Brady roast.
Like Rob Lowe or something like that?
Yeah, I think maybe. But still makes sense. But Mike clearly hasn't seen the Tom Brady roast, which is why he's just referencing roast that he has seen.
I had not seen it. I didn't watch it. I didn't know until you mentioned it, and until this morning when I saw people posting about it. I was like, oh, they did another roast? And I usually it's a Comedy Central thing, but apparently not. And I was like, oh, I don't want to and some of I saw someone, I think Nikki Glaser is like one of the most ruthless roasters.
She is getting the most love for her performance. That's the best set of the night.
She has consistently had the best set in these roasts. I'm assuming she did great. I saw one joke about one of the things that I'm not a fan of roasts. I'm not a fan of this kind of thing because it feels super artificial in the way that again, like you're saying, somebody wrote these jokes for these people and they're just reading off of cue card. It reminds me of the Oscars. It reminds me of the Oscars where people struggle to read off a teleprompter, like it's trying to dissect.
The only ones that struggle to read on a roast are the people who are not professional comedians.
100%.
But that's why I always thought the roast should just be that. Like, I thought roasts were supposed to be people who could roast, who could shoot back and forth, not just speaking, not just I can read, therefore I will be here.
Well, you're singling out Gronk right now. And I think it's messed up that
because he doesn't know how to read.
Gronkowski. Right. That was the joke of the night, was basically how dumb Gronk was. And one of Nikki Glaser's jokes that went over so well is Tom Brady lost $30 million in cryptocurrency.
Right.
And she said, how did you fall for that? Even Gronk was like, me no, that no real money. That was what she said, and it fucking demolished. And it got a standing ovation. It was whatever. But the whole night was how dumb Gronk was. It was a couple jokes.
Here's the thing, Gronk.
I do know this person, but I feel bad for them.
He's dumb. he even is like, yeah, I'm a big old meat sack of muscle and dumb. Like that's all he is. He's like, I'm a big dumb attack monster.
Yeah.
That and I have been paid millions and millions and millions of dollars to be big and dumb. So like he's probably just like, Gronk laugh, like like, oh yes, Gronk dumb. Gronk, yes, you see through Gronk. Like I get that that's the bit. But also like how many of those jokes can you tell before it's like, all right?
Kevin Hart was literally at one point telling people, help him out, sound it out. Gronk was reading, and Kevin Hart said, sound it out. You got this. You got this. It was fucking hilarious. So here's what I will say. First of all, I'm a fan of roast. I like roast. I don't.
It's clever
do roast.
Joke writing when it's good.
I don't do roast. I am not inherently a mean person. I'm not saying that I can't be mean or I haven't said any mean things in my life. I'm saying I'm inherently not mean. That's not how my brain works when I write material. But does it mean that I can't acknowledge when I see it? It's like, man, that's really good. That's really funny, and I enjoy it. I think roast in the space that it's in are awesome. I will say this. This was a very un-PC, very not friendly to what has been now weaponized as woke culture. It's not friendly. There's a lot of gay jokes. There's a lot of dick sucking jokes. There's a lot of this shit. And if you're not into that, I totally understand it. You should not watch this fucking roast. I'm a fan of comedy. So to me, if it's in context, you know what I mean? I'm all for it. If it's in the context of comedy, to me, I'm all for it. I don't care about it. I'm not PC with it. Which is not to say that I'm not PC. It's just I'm not PC with comedy. Like if an elected official says something like this, what's this chick name? This governor of North Dakota? Is it the governor of North Dakota? That she's seen as, I don't know if you guys saw this. I forget her name. You should pull this up. So she is seen as the front runner to be Donald Trump's running mate. And she came out with a book, and an excerpt in the book is talking about how she killed her puppy. She shot and killed her puppy. And she wrote this in a book herself. So it's not like somebody dug this up. She wrote this in a book herself, and she has since doubled, tripled, and quadrupled down on it. She was like, yep, the puppy was 14 months old, and he couldn't be trained, and I shot him. I took him out back, and I shot him. This is, we live in a farm. And it's like, what? It's like, so the face that Stephanie has right now is the face that everybody should have. So that's where I'm like, PC culture should live in that. PC culture should live in like elected officials, people who are running our government. You should be like, you should know better than to make gay slurs or stereotype Jewish slurs.
For living
empathy,
things,
stuff like that. When you're in the context of a roast and it's comedy and you all know each other and you all like each other, I think you can let those jokes fly. I'm fine with all that. But I know that a lot of people are not. So with that said, if you're listening to this before you watch the roast, which I don't know why, but if you are, don't watch the roast if you're going to be sensitive to those kind of material, that kind of jokes.
I think this is a fair point to say that like precedents have been established. If something is properly marketed as like, we talked about this, the calculated controversy, the rage bait of what a lot of social media stuff is now, the fake videos that we were talking about last time of like people posting up fake things that are like hopeful, and like all of these things that are like bullshit. Like we know that they are going to try and say in a roast the most outlandish and the most like aggressively non-politically correct or anti-woke jokes. There's a certain because it's going to attract both audiences. People are going to watch it to be like, yeah, these guys know how to talk about gay people the way me and my friends talk about gay people in that locker room. And then there's a bunch of people who are like, let's go see what these jerks are going to say about whatever. And either way, Netflix wins, right? Like the people who produce this stuff are calculated. It's like calculated evil. It's like it's like the whole point is controversy. And it gets to be like, for me, honestly, like I see, like as I'm watching the clips, like that Nikki Glaser one, where she talks about like how many rings he has, and then talks about his divorce with Giselle, like that Giselle took the other one back, or what? I'm butchering the joke. That's a clean joke. That's just a joke about divorce. None of that feels edgy. So like, if you can tell good jokes without it being super insulting to like a already marginalized group of people, I'm like, okay, great. Those are the jokes. But then there are some jokes where it's like, oh, this is purely for shock value. They might as well be like fucking Alice Cooper getting his head chopped off on stage. It's the same it's the same show. It's the same fake.
Yeah, she's inciting a reaction. That's it.
It's just fake. It's just a show. It's just phony. So to me, get like both people, like it fuels a fire that doesn't need any more fuel. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's
also I think easy to say like, oh, I'm okay with these kind of jokes when the joke isn't about you.
100%. And also,
like, I disagree with that. I disagree with that.
But you said
no, but you just did it. Like
no. But again, but they made fat jokes. They make all these again. Just because the joke isn't about me doesn't mean that I can't acknowledge somebody that's going. But like it doesn't make a difference. They made minority jokes, immigration jokes. All of that affects me on a personal level. But it doesn't affect me in I could take this joke, but I can't take that joke. To me, in the context of a comedy situation, of a comedy show, it's just that. And just like what Mike says, it's all phony. It's all entertainment. It's all a show. That to me.
Let me show this.
That part I'll agree with you in the sense of like, I've always said that like I am willing to, especially comedy that's like from a previous generation or different decade, I'm always willing to look at comedy as like it's a reflection of the current, like whatever current time you're looking at, right? It's just like always a mirror and a time capsule of what you're going through. You just kind of have to appreciate a joke for what the joke is. A lot of times some things aren't going to age the way you want them to age, but that's literally the nature of it.
Yeah, like, cultures move on.
Literally, I think one of the only, like, there's very few bits that will keep going on that aren't offensive to anything because we grow as a society. Hopefully, we keep progressing and growing. Sometimes we'll go.
I mean, it's all, but I do think it's more conscious than that. I think it's a choice. I think it's intentional. Like, you can choose to, like, if you watch some old Carlin bits about like political stuff, that's just still super relevant. It's still super relevant because it's
sadly
about
more relevant.
It's even more relevant. The whole it's a big club and you ain't in it. Now, some people who would watch that would be like, "Where's the joke? What's exactly?" See, present. So like, he's speaking cleverly. He's making clever observations, but the joke isn't there.
Yeah,
now,
the funny's not there. Like that's where I'm always on a I'm a big and Steph shakes her head at me for this for years. Carlin's not funny to me.
I understand.
Early Carlin was funny to me, and I don't want to say anything negative in a negative light. He is a very smart, brilliant writer, wordsmith. That is a great public speaker. Like he would kill in TED Talks. I don't find him funny. I just find him like saying things that I go, wow, that is true. That's a good point. Excellent point. Okay, that's good.
He says things in an entertaining way, but it's not necessarily.
He's still a jester. He's still a jester, just a different type of jester. Like no matter what, that's like to me.
Man, look, I didn't like Bill Hicks, and people talk about Bill Hicks like he's the second coming. Like he was like, oh, he's this revolutionary thing, and I'm like, man, Bill Hicks is.
I'm with you.
I guess.
I just don't see. To me, there's a difference between being a smart writer, being a smart speaker. Say what you're saying has a lot of truth and value to it. It just doesn't have funny to it. And there's nothing wrong with those things. Right. There's nothing wrong with those things. I don't understand why it has to be like you have to have Carlin on your mountain. Like, do I? Okay.
I clearly. So I have my own personal tastes, right? It's not even biases, but there's that recognition of what was the world like when they were telling these things at a time before social media, before even like I was just talking about this with we went to Disneyland, we went to the Star Wars thing, we went with another couple friend of ours that the dude was really into Star. We were like I had like a little buddy there. He was super hyped to go to Star Wars. We were all about it.
Did you call him little buddy?
I felt like we were like holding. Everyone is little to me.
That's why I asked. Did you call him little buddy?
No,
Like,
no,
'cause
but I
it
felt
could be
like
like
I had
Baloo. It could be like Baloo and Tailspin. Hey, little buddy.
yeah. No, but
I'm
by
gonna tell
little,
you,
I meant
if
like
someone called me that, I'd love it.
little buddy, man. Did you see that trend of like women and call it's like the joy that you could bring to your male coworkers by calling him big dog, or like what's up, big dog, and then you see like they're like filming it, and you see these dudes like light up, man. Everybody wants to be called big dog. Like, what's up, big dog? Yeah, it's like, yeah, what's up? What's going on? And then you see them like reacting to being called big. It's great. The same way that if someone called
Very
me,
pure.
yeah, it was just like a pure childlike, like, yes, finally, I'm getting recognized for my big dog status.
There was one time where a comedian that took me with him on the road, like this is like 18 years ago. He was on stage and he was like, "Yeah, man, I travel. You know, I'm traveling with the kid." And I'm like, "I'm the kid.
You're the kid.
I'm the kid. It's cool."
I love that. But so a little buddy meant more like childlike. Like we were like little kids, you know, we were like, I got my friend and we're going around and we're going to go look at Star Wars things and blah, blah. And so it got me back into like, you know, I've kind of like had like the same way Marvel has been weird lately and the little things that where I'm just like, it doesn't have the shine as much. Star Wars lost a little bit of the shine for me, the movies anyway. And then we went to the theme park and I was like reinvigorated. I can't remember why I brought this up now. What was it we were talking about?
You were talking about different times,
yes,
different cultures.
Yes. So I went
dog.
through this explanation of like with my wife because I've of course want her to watch Star Wars and love it the way I do, but she's been kind of like warming up to it slowly.
That's never gonna happen, man.
I understand.
She's never gonna love it the way you do.
Not the way I do, but hopefully
what you gotta do is
nostalgia.
it's the same thing what I do with my children. Is like I love Superman.
Yes.
You can love whatever you want, and then just hope that they gravitate towards it.
Sure.
And because if you push it on them, they're gonna hate it, dude.
Absolutely. And that's kind of I'm like, hey, I don't want, you know, I'm not gonna push it. But when we were there and in the world, and you know, she loved the ride. We went on the ride. It was awesome. We went, you know, like all these things. And we were talking about how the time in which all these things came out has a lot to do with how they were received. In 1977, you couldn't just go to rent. If you wanted to see the movie, the only place to watch Star Wars was in the theater. So you had people that made it a point to be physically in the space where you could do the thing that everybody gathered. It was actually more communal then than it is now. So like that content had to be received. Then there's like all those people grow up and then the prequels come out. And now there's a little bit more interactivity. Maybe there's internet, there's web pages, there's people writing shit, there's people with more access to other people to communicate. But you still had this element of time passing, this new content being received by the people who appreciated the old content. Of course, they're going to look at it differently with all of that stuff. Also, so now when you look at jokes, in the time when Carlin was coming up, everything was so kind of like the media was so controlled, like Johnny Carson. That's the only time you ever saw a celebrity being a celebrity, like not being a human being.
Character.
You see character. I mean, the only time you would see them doing that is when they were being interviewed on Johnny Carson. That's why Johnny Carson's show is so huge. You would have fucking Dom DeLuise and Burt Reynolds drunk off their ass doing some goofy shit on the show as Dom DeLuise and Burt Reynolds and fucking around. And people would tune in to see that because that was the only insight you had into that world. Now, who gives a shit? Now everybody's on fucking doing TikToks and showing off cameo. You know, you could literally buy cameos. Have you ever bought a cameo for anyone?
Always wanted to.
Who
so
like
tempted.
I don't know who I would be able to buy like cameo. The Rock. But he's too famous. It's gonna be mid-level celebrity.
That's what I'm saying. You can't like anybody who's. I've received an email. I've received an email from Cameo saying like, "Do you want to be a content?" And I'm like, "Nobody's gonna pay for me. I'm not gonna do that. So why would I do that?" So funny. If I'm getting these emails, there's nobody that I want.
Yeah.
Nobody at my level is at somebody that I want.
Yeah.
So no, that's it.
Let's see. I want to see. Can we find out who's on Cameo?
Yeah, I mean, go search on Cameo.
Let's see.
To me, like you would have to be Sylvester Stallone, The Rock, these people who are not on Cameo. And even if they were
the most requested person,
even if they were on Cameo, The Rock and Sylvester Stallone, do you understand how much they would charge?
Get mom a cameo this year. She deserves it. Okay, now we're on a mission. Now we're going to see who should you give to? Ooh, look, popular categories: Harry Potter, Breaking Bad, YouTube for sure. YouTube
for sure.
Just
want to see what actors are on there.
Actors. Let's see.
Because you gotta put like if you could find like mom's like favorite.
Chuck Norris. I actually love John Lovitz. Oh, now here, these are the smaller categories. Let's see, voice actors, Comic-Con.
See, hold on.
See,
that's the biggest. That's the biggest ones. Is those two people that we just mentioned, and I wouldn't pay for any of that. But again, that's just me. I'm not. This is not a knock on them. This is just I'm not a fan of theirs specifically.
Right. But like there's got to be some like. So who do you?
Tommy Chung.
Who do you? Okay.
JCVD.
For your mom, Steph. Who is someone that she is like a fan of, like a true fan of? Oh, I got one for my mom.
What about for my dad? She's too big because my dad would love Sandra Bullock. Oh, who's the guy who was in? Who was the guy who was in Quantum Leap? The guy in Quantum Leap.
Bakula. My mom was obsessed with this guy. My mom was obsessed with, and my aunt were obsessed with Adrian Paul from the Highlander TV show. I wonder. Is there a price here? Is it available? $96? Oh, why don't I do this?
Do it now.
Hey, so I will tell you, I can't tell you what it is right now because my wife may be watching, but for Mother's Day, I did something, not a thing, but I did something for my wife that cost me way more than this, by the way. But I'll talk about it next week if you remind me to bring it up next week because it's Mother's Day is this coming Sunday here in the States, Stephanie, for the Americans. It's this coming Sunday.
It's Sunday here too.
Is it? Do the Aussies have the same Mother's Day? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we have the same Mother's Day. We just have different Father's Days. Don't know why, but okay. So Scott Bakula is not on there.
How do you spell Scott Bakula? I guess he's not on there.
Well,
what about anyone from Star Trek?
Star Trek.
Oh
wow, Jonathan Frakes. Riker.
Ooh, is that Data?
That's Data. Ooh.
That's Data right there.
Yeah, Data.
This is fantastic.
This is great, guys.
I don't know who.
Guys, I'm getting ideas.
This is fantastic.
Dumb things to do.
I think we should chip in and get these people to say you're listening to What's Up, Bro.
I imagine you can't. Okay, I get fed the dumbest ads, and one of them I saw was I forget. It was like they tricked an actor into giving an ad read for this cookie game, and it was like this guy. They just like used him. He's like, oh, when I'm on a break or whatever on the set, I love playing. Oh, it was the dude from Hercules that they hate. Everybody hates now because he's a
Kevin Sorbo.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I guarantee you he's on Cameo. I guarantee you Kevin Sorbo's on Cameo.
Oh, yeah,
for sure. He's got to buy. You think those Trump flags are buying themselves? Come on, man. You think he's got to afford those flags?
Oh man, I don't know. That sounds these sound like a great
Dean
idea.
Kane.
Dean
Kane.
That actually would work for me too. That would work, work for my mom.
You just reminded me because you said dumb Trump supporter, and I go Dean Kane.
Oh,
yeah, it's very bad. Yes.
Yeah, he's bad. He's
Of
bad.
course he's there. Look at him.
Dean Kane.
How much is it?
It is
my heart breaks.
$120 for a Dean Kane. I guess he can't use Superman because he says former flyer. Anyway. Dean Kane, there's got to be a whole. I wonder what the most.
Superman. It says actor and Superman right next to his
Superman.
name.
It does say
there
it.
It is.
Okay.
What about
Superman? What else is there?
What if I just get my mom all the Superman I can get her? Is Tom Welling on there?
Brandon Routh for sure is on there. For sure, Brandon Routh is on there.
You think? Yeah, man, I love Brandon Routh. He is not.
Nope.
How? He is not.
Wow.
He will not stoop to this level.
He's missing out on hundreds of dollars.
Sweet.
Yeah, he's missing out of tens of hundreds of dollars.
Let's see comedians that are on here.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Tommy Chung. Tommy Chung would be fun to get my dad.
Do you recognize any of these?
Yeah.
John Lovitz.
Other than John Lovitz.
I recognize that Frank. Yeah.
Oh, Johnny Gill.
Brad Williams. Who what are the names?
That's Joe McHale.
Joe McHale. Joe McHale, I think, is above this. I got to be honest with you. Brian from The Office.
Baumgartner.
Yeah, I recognize some of these people.
Cedric the Entertainer. Some guy. Oh, Tom Arnold.
Tom Arnold. Yeah. Yeah.
Gary. Jeff Richards.
That looks like Nick Nolte.
That looks like that's Gary Busey.
Gary Busey. That's what Gary it is. Busey. I'm sorry. Hey, Nick Nolte and Gary Busey.
I totally
very
get
interchangeable. It. Very interchangeable.
Yeah. Oh my God, bruh, man, from the Fifth Flow.
From the Fifth Flow.
Oh no.
How much is he? How much is he? Just out of curiosity.
$39.
Yeah,
oh,
that sounds about right.
See, but you know, like I imagine that.
I noticed Joey Richter, but no one else would know him.
Joey Richter, actor from Star Kid.
Yes. So there is a series. Okay. Well, you know how I like random musical shit?
I was gonna say, was he in the musical camp with the camp musical?
No.
Like?
He was in a different musical, a very Harry Potter musical.
Oh.
It was a bunch. It's where Darren Criss got his start. It was a bunch of
Darren Criss, college. Of course.
Sure. Look, if you're into musical stuff, you would know who he is. He was on Glee.
He was on Glee. I know who you're talking about.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's not.
There's so many people on Glee. There were so many people. There were so many people on Glee that did not make it, that have not made it, dude.
Fucking dark.
Yeah, it was pretty bad,
bro. Real bad.
As much as I love this idea of that Adrian Paul one might be the winner. I think I might have to do that for my mom for Mother's Day. Because that is super. That's what Cameo's for. Cameo's for super specific fandom. Like if you are a fan of the guy who was in the Got Milk commercials, who was like Aaron Burr, you know, like that, like something so specific. It's the first thing I thought of. I don't know why. But if you're like a fan of a super specific person, and you can get a customized message, I think that's kind of a cool deal. I don't know.
There was one guy, and I'm not gonna mention names, but there was one actor who was on Cameo, and for shits and giggles, I clicked on his Cameo because I wanted to see and then he puts that he doesn't do specific characters because he's known as one specific character.
Oh,
and he doesn't do specific characters. He just does whatever. Like so, if you order whatever, if you tell him, hey, can you wish my mom a happy birthday? He'll wish your mom a happy birthday, but he'll do it in whatever comes out of his ass. So if you want him to be the character that everybody knows him as, he's not gonna do that. Now he may do it if it comes out of his ass,
right?
But don't fucking tell him. Like it. He's like the DJ in So Hard. Remember that movie, The Goods?
Oh yes,
remember?
Yeah, The Goods. Or he's like, hey, can you play this? So I can make a request.
Yeah, and he's like, fuck that, I'm not playing. Like he immediately, there's a DJ in the movie played by Craig. What's his name? Craig Robinson. Mm-hmm. And he hates when people request things, and then he's purposely like, yeah, I'll play that, and he just like doesn't play it. He purposely goes the other way, and then like 20 minutes later after that gag, he's like, DJ request coming at you. It's like DJ request.
His name is DJ request.
It's not a musical. You want to know it stuff. It's fine.
Yeah, it's also wasn't
too deep a cut for me.
It was also like it flew under the radar from all of those Judd Apatow movies with all of these like solid comic actors.
That one, I think that movie. Was it called So Hard? Is that what it's called? Or The Goods? I think it's called The Goods.
The Goods.
The Goods, and the one with what's his name, with Mark Wahlberg and Will.
The other guys. So the other guys and The Goods are the most underrated comedies in the last 20 years. They are just flat out fucking hilarious. I mean, they're just really fucking
good. I like the other guys.
But it's really hard to tell somebody who's never seen those movies to go watch those movies.
Yes, yeah. Again, also the era that they came out in. Well, now we're getting back into the comedy, like because Seinfeld, we mentioned it up in the or wherever the thing is. We mentioned it up at the top of the show that Seinfeld has declared that you can't make comedies anymore or whatever, that people, are afraid of it, PC culture. But
his quote was that there are certain episodes from Seinfeld that you can't make anymore because PC culture killed comedy. That's what he's saying. And then that's just like the most
It's the most basic thing.
It's the most untouched thing. People who say that have not watched comedy in 10 years, in the last 10 years.
The people who say that also are forgetting that there are people doing comedies that are edgy as hell right now.
That's why I'm saying they haven't watched comedy in 10 years. I could guarantee you Jerry Seinfeld hasn't seen.
You're telling me Jerry Seinfeld's out of touch? Get out of touch. You're telling me
that a 65-year-old millionaire is out of touch with the common people? That's weird.
You're telling me? I don't believe it.
I mean, like, what, like the cast of like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, were like infamously like, sometimes it's okay, like you have a show where the people in the show are not good people. They are the worst people. In Seinfeld, they were all obnoxious as people. It's
Rob
Always Sunny,
McElhenney
the same shit. Like
straight up. Yeah, Rob McElhenney straight up said, like, responded to the post. Jerry Seinfeld says he wouldn't be able to do many jokes from Seinfeld in today's world. One would be Kramer decides to start a business of having homeless people pull rickshaws. I remember that episode.
Yes.
And it fails, like, in the moment. Like, he did it in the episode that it was a dumb idea. And he said, oh, because they're outside anyway. Oh, God, what an edgy joke. How the woke police are going to come after him. And then Rob McElhenney responds with the picture of Rickety Cricket from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, who goes through the most depraved shit. It's hard to summarize all of the horrible things that happened to him as a junkie, homeless. He gets like, can I say it on YouTube without it? Like, now I'm going to get into TikTok speak where he gets SA'd. He has to resorts to sex work and prostitution. He does all kinds of horrible
sex work with a G.
Sex work. Sorry. Yeah.
Sex work.
In the captions, it'll say sex. and literally, like, that show is 14 seasons in. And then someone commented, like, you can't write sitcoms anymore because of woke, despite the fact that the guy who worked with him on Seinfeld to write those jokes about the rickshaw just did a 24-year run of one of the most beloved sitcoms of all time on Curb. So it's like
one of the most beloved and unpolitically correct fucking shows ever.
Yeah.
Like, he's so out of touch. That's what I'm just saying. He's so out of touch. It's okay. And by the way, this comment comes a week before the roast of Tom Brady.
Right.
We are now talking about.
We're literally talking about.
Well, we're talking about it being too much, or some people would think it's too offensive, and I'm like, oh, okay. Which is it's just the irony. I think this whole conversation is a Seinfeld episode.
Yes. Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld saying that comedy PC has killed comedy. He's so unaware of how ridiculous that is that makes it a Seinfeld episode.
This is an example. Let me know if you can hear it.
Jeffrey Ross, Roast J. Simpson. You did it.
He comes out as Roast J. Simpson. Is that what he did? He came out with
because he always does the costumes. You know how he comes out with these big costumes, and he comes out as O.J. Simpson, and the jersey is O.J. Simpson's number, with flames coming from the bottom of the number, as if he's in hell now.
Right.
And
you pulled it off, Jeff.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Yeah. Pulled it off.
You literally pulled it off. Literally, look at that. Look at that.
Oh, was that blood? I thought it was flames. I'm sorry.
It's both. It could be either. I mean,
he has a glove.
No, he has gloves on.
A real jersey. It doesn't exist. Like, you can't hang it and put it on the wall or something like that.
I had a real jersey made, and then they carefully cut it in half and add magnets to it. I had 3 made. Here's was my options, just so you know.
Yes.
Roast J. Simpson, which I used. That was fun.
Yeah.
The real killer I had.
the real killer.
And then this one's the one, and I don't know why I didn't do it. It just felt like a joke on a joke, but
yes.
The juice, spelled Jewc.
That's pretty funny. Okay, that's clever. Multiple ways. I like it. Yeah. I think that's a good bit.
The juice is loose.
Was Brady really pissed about you making a crack towards a massage joke?
Come on, no.
So, for the record, the Robert Kraft, the guy who owns
the owner of the Patriots,
the New England Patriots, he was caught up in the legal trouble of a massage parlor where he was getting hand jobs, happy endings, at this place, and it was like a Trump connection. It was like
No, I don't remember any Trump connection, but there was definitely
she was a Mar-a-Lago special guest. Like she did lots of her client sourcing at Mar-a-Lago. So
Okay.
there is a non-zero possibility that Trump got his little toadstool jerked off in the fucking same place as Robert Kraft.
But the place was literally in a strip mall in Tampa.
Yeah, plausible deniability, baby.
All right, man.
No way.
Because he came up.
Well, she's not gonna rock up with like a T-shirt, like saying like her company logo, like at their house.
I mean, maybe.
He said, knock that ass off,
Professional.
Jeff.
He's having fun.
Okay, good. Fantastic.
Fun, it's like that's his dad, that's like Robert Kraft is like a father figure to him, he was just showing his love for Robert Kraft, and Robert Kraft loved it. We had a great talk afterwards, and he was so happy that I gave him a shout out and a salute. It was beautiful.
Oh, Rich, I'm getting feedback from one of you guys, I think. Let's see who it is. It's you, Steph.
Are they mowing the lawn?
You have to resort to hand signals and up down until it stops.
Is that you thought that was feedback? That sounded like a lawnmower, without a doubt.
It didn't sound like a lawnmower until I checked. But yeah, that's it sounded like
I thought it was coming from you, because remember we heard the cops and we heard traffic last time from your house.
Yes, but my window's closed because the AC's on. Oh no, still got it. Is this like that? Now it's like an hour long.
I love this.
Yeah,
what other podcast can you have one host whose Wi-Fi is on a ship and could crash at any minute, the other host is in Australia mowing their lawn, and it's just like, come on, man.
And then the other one's in Los Angeles with cops running up and down the street all the time.
Yeah.
Nope. Okay. Let me know when it stops, and you can unmute yourself.
It's not gonna stop. She's saying it's not gonna stop. That's hilarious.
Oh no, are they there? Are they just starting and that's it? Are you on a Mac?
Can you not move?
Can you turn your thing onto vocal isolation? There's a way to set your phone to vocal isolation.
Are you on your phone?
I'm on.
Say that again. There's a way to set it in the control panel. You click on the microphone thing to vocal isolation. Where there's the little thing. Anyway,
who gets their lawn mowed on a Wednesday? What is happening? This is the weirdest. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody get their lawn mowed on a Wednesday.
Man, they do it different down there, man. They do it different.
I wonder if they start at the backyard and then go to the front yard.
No, they start at the top of the house and then they go, I don't know, man. But going back to the roast and all that stuff, the PC, do you think Jerry Seinfeld is full of shit? Or
yes.
He is, right? But do you think that I remember going to the movies to see comedies? I don't think that people really do that anymore.
No. Comedies have found a home in streaming. That's where comedies go. And you don't go to the movie theaters for comedy.
Yeah,
you go to streaming.
But I miss watching a comedy in a room full of people all laughing together.
Sure.
Bro, one of the best experiences watching a movie every time was watching Superbad in the movie theater, where everyone is dying, laughing their asses off, falling on the floor, like genuinely having like a communal experience. Of course, that makes things funnier. Watching a comedy at home by myself is very different than watching a comedy at home with my wife. We don't even really watch comedies anymore.
So here's a story. This really happened. My friends and I, we went. There was like
Is this better?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God, so much better.
Hi, I am currently reporting from my children's nursery.
Nice. So when the movie was it the one with Zac Efron, then the one with Zach Galifianakis?
Between
Hangover?
Two Ferns.
Hangover. So when the Hangover came out, we all thought 12 dudes that known each other our entire lives thought it would be a good idea to go watch this movie, and they get drunk before the movie. So we all 12 dudes in Miami went to get drunk, including me, and I don't drink, and I was fucking drunk. And we all saw this movie in the movie theater. Did it follow you?
It followed me to the other side of the house.
That's not as bad. It's not as bad. We're fine with it.
It really isn't as bad.
It's not as bad.
It really isn't as bad. And so
It's just the
we
fact
all
that
watched.
he went all the way over here.
We all. I like the fact. I like the idea of the guy mowing the lawn seeing her move. He's like, "Oh, really?
Oh, you think you're not gonna have me on the show?
What?" So 12 of us went. We all got drunk, and we were watching it, and it was a memorable experience. One of my friends regrettably got up and pissed in the corner of the movie theater. It was really bad. But
what?
Yeah, we were drunk. They were drunk. It was just
No, we need to go back to. Was there other people in the theater with you? Like, did
yeah. What do you think? We blocked out the entire theater. What kind of money bags did you think we had?
Pissed in the middle of the theater, dude. I was like,
it was one of those like Thursday night viewings where it was like at 7:00. It wasn't a super packed house, but there were other people there. But we were definitely at the top row. We had the whole top row. It was like 14 of us. We had the whole top row. So yeah. It
was it at least in a cup?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Man, that used to make me so mad because there is nothing worse than when you would pay back in the day where you would pay for your movie, you would have to sit where you could. There was no assigned seating, and then there would just be some random family there with like a baby that wouldn't start. Like at an R-rated midnight showing, and someone's got like a baby. I'm like, I get, hey, parents, you two that are parents, both of you on the podcast with me right now. That's wrong. You're not entitled to bring your kid every fucking where you feel like that is going to be disruptive. You're not allowed to do that.
I think that I disagree.
Or
with
you're
you.
not allowed to be surprised when people are like, "Hey, shut
well,
that
I'm not. And here's the difference. You're not. I don't think
step out. I'm sorry you have a child and have to now step out and miss half the movie. I'm sorry your choices led you here.
But again, I don't think from what I've experienced, usually when a kid does that, they cry for all of 2 minutes, and then that's how long it takes to get the baby out.
2 minutes too long, baby. 2 minutes too long. Get them the fuck out of here. Give me some child-free.
Look, there's certain places where I'll agree that like it's up to you. You got to get your kid out and stuff like that. There's other ones where I'm like, you're entitled to a child-free life, but not a child-free world. Like there's some places you're just gonna have to deal.
I specifically said midnight showing of a rated R movie. I'm sorry, your choices.
Yeah, but again, it being midnight and it being R-rated have nothing to do with the child. The child is a baby. If the baby,
I'm not blaming the baby.
The rated R should have nothing to do with it. Why does it matter what the rating of the movie is? Why does it matter if it's a baby? The baby doesn't know what the fuck is happening. The baby doesn't go, "Whoa, this is gonna scar me for life." So the rating of the movie has nothing to do with the baby.
Once again, willfully obtuse. You know what I'm getting at. This is a thing that
you pointed it out. You doubled back and you said, I specifically said midnight R-rated. That, like, if that makes a difference, you brought it back to that.
As opposed to
I will give Mike that
a G-rated children's movie. I'm making a commentary as a point that this is not for that kid in any way.
But no movie is for a baby. They're fucking babies.
Oh, then why'd you bring it?
Because I'm fucking want to see the movie and I don't have a babysitter.
You've made a choice. You've made a choice to populate.
You made a choice. You also made a choice. You made a choice to go watch a movie. You made a choice to go watch a movie with other humans. You don't want to do that? Then stream the fucking movie. That's on you too.
I very clearly said a time when that was not an option.
There you go.
I was talking about
agreeing.
The past.
And here's the thing. I'm agreeing with you in the it's. My agreement is if the baby starts crying, get out. That's what my agreement is. I'm the same way with I had it yesterday at a comedy show. The baby started crying. Get the fucking baby and walk out. I don't care what time it is. It was a PG show, so there were children there. But if you have a child that you cannot control, whether it be because it's a baby or whether it be because you're an awful parent and the kid is 10 years old and he has ADD and you're fucking awful, either way, get that kid the fuck out of the room. I'm with you on that. But the whole you can't make you're no longer allowed to try to watch a movie because it infringes on my noise, on the possibility. The fuck.
So if you take a baby, right? And again, I'm not even talking about a child that you can talk to. I'm talking about a baby.
A baby, right?
To a movie, like even something like The Avengers, right? Where there is loud noises coming at them.
Oh, you think loud noises? You think loud noises bother a baby while they're sleeping because that's what you think. But if you adjust a baby's noises while they sleep, they don't give a fuck. My baby.
You're telling me that you desensitize your baby by putting like headphones on the baby and
no, not
like,
headphones, not headphones.
Bullets, gunshots.
If you live regular, there are studies upon studies. There are studies upon studies, Mr. Science Man, that will tell you that living a regular volume life around babies, around newborns, desensitizes them, and you don't have to walk on eggshells. Those people who you walk into their house and be like, the baby's sleeping, please don't ring the doorbell. And that baby is never that person. That baby is gonna grow up to be a person who is a light sleeper, and it's on you, the fucking parent, that you fucked them up. There are studies upon studies that tell you that.
Does exposure to violent media? I don't see anything about sound.
Violent. It's not violent. It's the volume. It's volume levels. I've experienced this multiple times.
Volume levels, I definitely won't. But like, look, honestly, I pick and choose when I do these things with my kids. I'll go to specifically to like mom screening. Like they have like
they have that for you.
Here.
Sure,
they have that for you. Sure.
I will exist in other places.
Go again. Some parents don't have that option. Some parents don't have that option, so it's fine. And by the way, I am defending parents. Because I'm not defending me because we've never done that. We've never taken our babies. We had 3 babies and we never taken any of our babies into a movie theater. The youngest we had was a 1.5-year-old, Lucy, and we took her to a Disney movie at 12 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday.
Yeah, sure.
So again, I'm not defending this. I'm defending this behavior not because I've done it, but because I know that some parents don't have the options as I or my wife did.
I completely understand that some parents don't have the option, but also you not having an option to not do, like, you're still ruining the things for the people around you.
Again, but you're saying ruining as if it's a known fact that it's going to happen. That same parent could have seen a movie the week before and the baby slept through the entire movie.
Again, you understand my point. It's not the people that take it's the ones that have tuned out their own babies crying and they just adapted to it the same way you're desensitized.
But those people are inconsiderate.
Hold on, the same way you say the baby gets desensitized to the noise around them, they sleep through it. The parents who have tuned out their kids crying to the point where they don't even react to it. They're like, oh, we can't humor the baby by responding to it every time it cries. It's like, yeah, but also
I've never understood those people.
Other people are around. So if you're just going to let that kid cry in public,
what you're saying is
that's what I'm talking about.
You're talking about a very specific group of people who are inconsiderate. Not that they've tuned out their kid, because I do that all the time. There's a baby next to me at the buffet, and he's crying, and I don't even flinch. Meanwhile, the piano player is next to me going like, "You don't hear that?" And I'm like, "I really didn't even hear it until you fucking said it." Yeah. But if it's my child and I'm taking him somewhere, I am not desensitized to that. I'm not inconsiderate. You're talking about a very specific group of inconsiderate people, not because of a specific parenting
they're called
style.
Infants, those inconsiderate fucks. Get them out of my life.
At this point, like suppose like airplanes. The airplane's the one that always comes up, right? At this point in my life, if I hear baby crying in an if I hear baby crying in an airplane,
I'm a dad. I'm allowed to make these dad jokes.
You're allowed to make those jokes and inappropriately bring your children to midnight showings of some horror movie.
This is your right.
As an American,
like the kid's gonna be like, Dad, it's rated R. I'm not 18. I'm 18 months, not 18 years old.
What were you gonna say, Steph?
The airplane. You were saying the airplane.
No, airplanes. Like that's one of the scenarios. Like movie theaters. I don't know why. I feel like movie theaters and certain areas that are meant to be quiet. I do understand a little more the annoyance of like there is a sound, because I hate it when people are talking around me.
Yeah.
Like I'm upset at the baby. I'm upset at the parent because the parent is the one who has to deal with the baby. Things like I hear people bitch all the time about like airplanes, and to that one to me makes absolutely no fucking sense. Because if I hear a baby crying on a plane, I I think poor baby. Like I'm like
that's a shitty situation.
I actually don't think that. I actually don't think that. I actually think poor parent. I immediately go like, fuck that poor lady, that poor mom, that poor dad. Fuck, bro. That's because they can't control that. The baby can't control that. Now you're in a situation where you're constantly feeling like this. Oh my god, I gotta shut the baby up. Like hey, bro, this is life. It's fine.
You feel bad.
Like, I don't feel bad for the
baby.
baby. I feel bad for the parent. Like immediately, I've never been like poor baby. I've been like poor mom.
Here's where I'll say this, that I do not, I'm not trying to backtrack anything. Those are completely different scenarios. A plane, when you're traveling, that is
what time is the flight though? What time is the flight?
You flying at midnight? Get that fucking kid out of here.
Out of here.
Or you're flying at night? Get him out of here.
Get him out of here.
Where's the eject button?
Yeah, fuck out of here.
Flying out the window. Is this a Boeing? Yeah, pop that door. Get him out.
Pop the door. It's already popped. What are you talking about?
Already popped.
It's a Boeing, baby.
But if it's a plane, or like even something like a doctor's office or something like that, where it's like, hey man, I have to.
Restaurant is a good one. Restaurant is a good one.
Restaurant's a tough one because I've also
seen. Where do you sit on with restaurants?
That leave these motherfucking little pieces of shit running around, wreaking havoc. I was a well-behaved child because my mom made me and taught me to fucking sit down. Don't raise your voice. You order the food. You look at the menu. You tell us what you want. You eat. You enjoy your food. You can. Don't let these little kids that they run around to other tables and start taking stuff off of other tables. That's happened more than like too many times in my life. Some random shitty kid shitty kid because of a shitty parent is like walking around, running around, spilling stuff, grabbing things, I'm getting splashed by a fucking cup of things.
What time was this meal? At what time?
I was late at night. Yes, thank you, Neri. That's right.
Kids can't have dinner at a restaurant.
Not near me. Get him the hell out of here. I'm eating at your house. Send that kid to his fucking room.
I'm all for the kid not being able to run around to other people's tables. I'm all for that.
You should see that shit all the time on the ships where people are like, there's got to be some of these shitty kids on these things where you're just like, trip them a little bit or give them a little. No,
I don't. I tune these I have. As a parent, I tune this out. Like, I'm not lying. This has happened to me on multiple occasions where I'm with either another comedian or another performer, another employee of the ship, and we're in a public area and the kid is losing their fucking ever-loving mind next to us. And I don't even flinch. I don't even hear it a lot of times. And then the other person would have to be like, dude, you don't I gotta get out of here. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I walk away with him. And then he was like, and I go, what happened? And they're like, you didn't fucking hear that? That baby crying? I go, oh, I guess there was crying. Like, I've zoned that shit. Like, as a parent, you just learn to like block that shit out. But I will say that I'm also not the guy that does, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I understand their point of view as well. Like, I'm not like, oh, stop being a dick. It's a fucking baby. I'm also like, oh yeah, if you can't take that noise, I understand. You're not used to that. I'm used to it, so that's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
I think I'm not quite at that place in parenthood yet where I can tune shit out yet. I'm still very much at that place where it was very validating when I recently found out that like shortly after, you know, you give birth and stuff like that, like your brain chemistry like alters enough that like you actually get anxiety and certain like danger senses whenever your baby's crying to the point where like if any baby is crying around me, like there's a little like thing that like happens in my chest where I'm like, are they okay? Is everything okay?
Fuck them kids that are not mine, bro. Fuck them kids. I don't give a shit. They're not mine.
Like, yeah, whatever.
No. Again, I tune out. Again, that's what I was gonna say before. Like, I'm not that guy who tunes out my own kids. But if I'm in a public area and there's other kids, I'm like, I don't give a. Like, I just.
It's a crazy feeling though. Like, you have any idea how hard it's been? Where like, so my first kid, he's one of those babies that. I think because he was a COVID baby, he was just excited to see people, so he would happily go to anybody. Whereas, like, got that
maybe because genetically he's built from friendly people. I like the fact that you're blaming it on COVID.
That's also true.
I'm like the fact that you blame it on COVID. I'm like, maybe he's just nice because his parents are nice.
That two things.
Well, I'm just saying, like, ever since a baby, because like, you know, some babies are a little clingier. Like my daughter is when she was little, she was much more like. I have to be with mom. I have to be with mom.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to be that parent who like their kid couldn't go to other people and I could only be the one holding them and I could be the only one doing it. And I had to be at war with my instincts constantly because I want her to be able to be comfortable to go to other people. But the anxiety that would bubble up in me when she was crying in someone else's arms, looking at me like I abandoned her because I'm not holding her at a given moment.
Because
And
you did. You
but it's like,
did.
my brain is telling me, like my brain is like, this is the correct thing to do, and I'm doing this for her own good. And my body is like, ah. Like,
I think we need to point out also Neri's physiological responses are very different to you having carried the baby and had your full body chemistry altered.
I carried the baby as well. It's, so
I mean, you can the different kind of carry, Neri, different kind of carry.
Yes.
But
I carried the baby and shot them out at a high velocity.
You fired them out like a cannon.
Yeah.
I'll give it to bring
your contribution was just as important.
I'll bring it around.
No, of course not. Because I mean, take away my contribution. Let's see how well you do your contribution.
Yeah, you are getting into trouble. To bring it around full circle, the perfect place where to kind of like give an example. I went to Disneyland this weekend with my wife and some friends. We're all adults, and Disneyland is full of. It's easier to be a Disney adult in Disneyland than it is Disney World, I think, because Disney World is kind of because Disneyland is so close to Southern California that there's just like a lot of people who live in like where it's super close. I think more people live closer to Disneyland than they do to Disney World because Disney World is in like the middle of Central Florida.
Well, they did it on purpose. The whole point was that Walt wanted it to feel like its own city, a different world.
Right.
Like you're walking into a different world as opposed to across the street there's a McDonald's.
Right. So Disneyland, I saw a lot of, and it was like, we went to the two parks, California Adventure. We went to the Disneyland, and on like Sunday, it just happened to be Goth Day or whatever when we went. Like it was like there's like unofficial Disney days that these people come up with. So the first night we were there, we were watching the like in the Disney California Adventure. It's a water show. There's like, it looks like the Bellagio. There's like a whole bunch of fountains shooting things up and lasers and projections and all kinds of cool stuff. We were posted up off to the side, and it was like my wife's friend, her husband, and her mom was with us, and they were all standing there, and all of a sudden, this one girl who apparently was mad. I was tall, so I'm blocking views, and I don't give a fuck. I paid money to be here. I'm going to stand where I want to stand.
What time?
It was late. It was nighttime. Okay. Get these.
Yeah, fuck them.
So, this one girl shoots her, like gets like kind of like sassy, and I could see her. She just kind of jumps up in front or whatever, and she stands and literally like my friend's mom is right here, and she brings her face, like her head, right in front, like almost like she just literally went yoink right in her view. And I was like, excuse me, you literally just blocked her view directly. She's like, and she gets mad and she walks away. Like very quick exchange, and I was like, yeah, man, fuck you. You're an adult. Like you're gonna get mad because you didn't get your little view or whatever. And then, like maybe not a minute later, 2 minutes go by, a little girl comes up and gets right there, and I'm like, yes, absolutely, of course. It's Disneyland, like it's Disney. Like you're in a theme park, you're a child, you're allowed to have childlike wonder. She's like 8 years old.
You paid a ticket, Mike. You paid a ticket.
You didn't block me.
Fuck her. Fuck her.
Can't. She can't block me. But even in that moment, she didn't really block the mom either. She didn't block anybody. It was like, but yeah, of course that kid can have that experience there. That's Disneyland. It would be like, it would be shitty for me to be like, excuse me, little kid, or get the fuck out of here. It was totally reasonable, but because there's a lot of like the adults, the entitled adult of like,
they found me.
As much as I wanted to,
they found her.
I muted you. As much as I wanted, like in that moment, anytime, I'm paid money to go to Disney and I'm doing all my stuff, but I'm not gonna like. This is the place for children. Right, it's for kids to come and have childlike wonder and all this stuff and ride rides and all these things. And I'm not going to go up to be like, you see that guy? You see that mouse? That's a guy to shoot. Like I'm not going to ruin the immersion or anything like that for a child. But there's some of these like adults that I saw that were like, oh, they have main character syndrome. They think that though everyone else is just an NPC in their life, and they get to kind of be the star of the show. And that was what I noticed that a lot in the.
It happened again.
Yeah.
It happened again. I went to one side of the house and they followed me.
He's following you.
I don't know how it keeps happening. I don't even have that many people here.
It's just one guy.
It's just there's just 2 people, and like it's these old
Promote
houses are
me
made
on
out
the
of wood.
pod. Promote me on the
Promote
pod.
my business.
Yeah.
Upside down lawn care.
They're great. They really are. It's just right.
Yeah, they're just loud right now.
They're just early.
So I will say, having been to both, now I can say I've been to Disneyland and Disney World. Disney World is so much better. It's like insanely, it's like so much better for immersion. But I could see myself getting the annual pass to Disneyland because it's so close, and you still get to do, the Star Wars things. The Rise of the Resistance ride is amazing.
Did you do the Tron ride?
That's not there.
Oh,
that's in Disney World.
I don't know. I want to do I haven't done the Tron ride yet. It's also
I don't know if you're gonna be able to.
I think I'm too big for it.
I think you're too tall. Yeah.
Yeah, too tall for it. Yeah, that's a specific. Yeah, because your knees.
It's a motorcycle. It's a motorcycle that you're like.
You have to fit into like this kind of. Your legs have to fit into this kind of stirrup kind of thing.
Yeah. But it really is like you just are like launched forward.
And then there's something holds your back, and it's like if you're. I think I might be too. There's a maximum height requirement as opposed to a minimum.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, I mean, I hope that I still get to experience both. But hey, man, I might become one of these Disney adults. I might become one of these people that just goes to Disneyland on the weekend and has an annual pass. It goes to like, hey, I'm gonna try it. They introduced a new baked Mickey shaped, fucking waffle at this place. I'm gonna go try it on a weekend. Why not? It sounds like
it's
fun.
funny. I just texted a friend of mine, 2 friends of mine, including Hilda, actually. Like, hey, do you go to Disney often? Because I'm looking for a specific shirt that I bought at Disney World probably 10 years ago, if not longer. But they don't have it in my size. But it's bigger. It's too big for me. So I'm looking for it in a smaller size. And so if you go to Disney World, if you could be on the lookout, just, I'm not saying go to there specifically for it, but if you have annual passes, they're going to be there.
Right.
And so I was asking for that. God bless Hilda. I love her. She was like,
she's the best.
I sent her the picture and she like Googled it. And I was like, you don't think I tried Google before
I tried this?
No. I'm like, she was like, she was like, yeah, I couldn't find it in your size. I'm like, that's exactly why I'm messaging. Okay. That's okay. And I remembered immediately that she works in a corporate office, Hilda. So I know she must get those requests from people all the time, who's like blah blah, and then she must be like, have you tried turning off your phone and turning it back on? Have you tried turning on?
Yeah.
Is the computer on? Like she's I'm sure that's a lot of that. So
probably
just instinct by now.
I'm torn. Like, I am not a collector person, but if I did have if I had enough space, we have a 1-bedroom studio, like a loft apartment. We don't have storage, but if we did, I might have a room full of literal plastic garbage.
Hey, so
I'm not a collector person. I'm not.
Trash.
I'm not a collector person, but then I got with someone who. Anytime we go to the States, wants to go to Disney World. And now we have this guy.
Hell yeah.
Good for you.
Hell yeah. I did the thing where you build the lightsaber.
There's a lightsaber around here somewhere.
I did the thing and the thing didn't turn on.
Stand for it. That's not mounted yet. It's just it's just
literally
stand.
Okay. So we literally booked my friend and I. We were gonna the husbands decided that we were like, we're gonna do it. It's an investment, right? It's a couple $100. It's expensive, and but you pay for the experience, right? I want to feel immersion. My shit didn't turn on at the end, and I was super bummed. And I was like, I paid for this thing to work, so I don't want it anymore. Like it's like I was like, fuck, this is bad. Like I ruined the whole thing for me. And then I kind of weaseled my way into getting a refund on a non-returnable thing. So I was like, great, I got to do the things.
I like it again.
There's not a useless piece of trash in my house, and I got my money back. So, thumbs up for Mike.
Can I just?
It would have been nice to fucking get it. It would have been good. Like, you know, my friend there was experiencing all the joy in the world with his lightsaber. Like, yes, I'm a kid again, you know. And I was like bummed out. But then afterwards, I realized, like, oh, thank God, I don't have this garbage in my classroom. Yeah.
So I'm looking for a picture that because I have
for the shirt.
I have met and hung out with Stephanie's daughter. So I was looking for a picture because Stephanie was talking about like, she was very clinging to me, and I was like, she seemed to fucking love me because she was okay with me. And I was looking for that picture, right? So I've been 8 minutes now looking for this fucking picture on my phone, right? And I can't find it. And I come across this picture, and I'm like, I don't recognize this fucking woman, right? And so I'm gonna show you the picture on my phone, right? And I'm like, who the fuck is this woman? And it's a screenshot, but I'm like, who the fuck is this woman? Have no idea who this is. That's clearly me, but I don't know. It's an old picture of me. And I'm like,
what a mystery.
And I'm like, I don't know who this is. And I'm like, why the fuck is it? And it's clearly a screenshot. So it's not even like, I could date it back. And it's not like, I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Right.
So I'm like, that's clearly me. And then I zoom out and it says a name. And I realize, oh, wait, this is a screenshot of somebody who on Facebook was like, you might know this person, right? And so I click on that picture, I click on that profile because I was like, why the fuck would I know this person? And that person's profile picture, her husband looks like me.
Oh,
that's not me.
That looks exactly like you.
That's not me. So that right there is not me. Now, for those of you who just know me as the bald guy, just know that when 10 years ago, that was fucking me with my hair.
That is you, yeah.
And I was and I remember sending this to Vanessa, to my wife. I remember sending this to Vanessa, to my wife, and she was like, who the fuck is that girl? Who are you kissing? And I'm like, that's not me. That's not fucking me. And we had this whole joke. And we had this whole joke, and we had this blah, 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 whatever. And, you know, again, she wasn't even mad or jealous. She was just like, oh, who's that? Like, she's just curious to know who that's
I'm like, other family.
I'm like, that's not me. Yeah. And so then I went through this woman's profile picture, by the way, and it just showed, like, the guy who looks like me. And I was just like, oh, boy, this fucking guy looks just like me. Holy shit.
Does he still have hair?
I don't know.
Oh,
that was actually
I wanted to see like alternate you.
What if he looks like you now?
In all fairness, that was her brother. That was her brother. That wasn't her. That was her brother. That wasn't her love, but that was her brother. And he has since gotten way fatter. So I'm like, it's like two boats crossing, going the opposite directions. It's like I've gone the other route, buddy. I've gone the other route.
For the podcast listener, this is why you got to tune in to the show live. You got to see the visual aids to go along with.
And I can't post this picture in the Instagram because it's not my picture.
It's not your picture.
Yeah, you're like, how weird would it be for her if she comes across and she's like, this guy,
who is this guy?
There was a guy recently who posted a picture, and he was like a public guy. He was like, his name is Burger Beast here in South Florida. He's like a food critic, whatever. And he posted a picture of him and his restaurant at his pop-up restaurant. And there was a guy right behind him that looks just like me right now. and I commented on the picture, and I was like, I don't remember working for you, but it's clear that I clearly have. It's obviously,
yes, that's the truth. Yeah.
There's proof, there's photo evidence that I obviously work for you. And then like 3 people got it. Like 3 people got like, oh, that's funny. And then I was like, everybody else was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? But I was like, no, trust me.
Like they clicked and they're like, yes, okay.
Yes, that is exactly.
It must be great to have so many doppelgangers. I would love.
I know.
But here's the thing: it's just fat Hispanic bald guys. It's just fat Hispanic bald guys. It really isn't. There's no like real. But here's this has happened to me multiple times. This has happened to me one time after a show. People are like, "Oh my god, you look just like my brother. You look just like my friend." I get that all the time, right? Yeah. Which is fine, especially with shows out of Miami. There was one time where I was on a cruise doing a show, right? And then she was like, you are like identical to my cousin. I go, yeah, I get that a lot, you know. And I always hit them with the same joke that I'm like, oh, there's another fat, good-looking bald guy, good, good for you, whatever. And they laugh, whatever. This lady came back like 5 minutes later. I'm outside selling CDs, and this lady came back, And she was like, I gotta get a picture with you. I'm like, yeah, let's get a picture, whatever. So she's like, ooh, I got a picture, whatever, blah. She comes back another 2 minutes later. We're now 7 minutes removed from her initial, oh my God, you look just like
She's
my
stuck on it.
whatever.
Yeah.
So she came back and she's like, I found the picture of him. This dude, from the picture she showed me, this dude is Mike's complexion, at least 6'3", 6'4", okay, does not have a beard, and is not bald. And I was like, what in the fucking world are you? There is zero resemblance to me. There is zero resemblance to me. It's the equivalent. Imagine Mike when he shaves his beard and somebody going like, oh my God, you look just like my friend Mike. And we look nothing.
No,
there's
we don't.
nothing.
Wow.
We fucking don't. We don't. And it's like it's the weirdest. That was the one time that I was like, and I looked at her and I go, man, we look nothing. There's nothing there. Are you talking about this man right here? Are you talking about this person right here in the picture? Because there was like 2 other people. She's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, once again, visual aids necessary for the audio listeners to come watch us live at WuBro Pod on Facebook and on YouTube and all the other places.
Can we just
we're on Twitch?
Really quick? I just wanted the new image of Superman came out, and I just wanted to show the new image of Superman that was released. So James Gunn posted that. James Gunn posted that. That's the real image.
A better image. We gotta.
That's literally the only image. I got it from James Gunn's Instagram.
I understand what you're saying, but that's a shitty way to do it.
Okay.
James.
Sure.
Get your fucking kids out of my movie theater.
I was like, I don't know. There's like, all right. So I just wanted to show it on the screen, and James Gunn released a new image of Superman. And it's funny because the internet is reacting the same exact way I reacted, which is first I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I was like, man, he seems very calm for the shit that's happening on in the background.
Right. Yeah.
He seems,
the world is exploding.
The world is exploding, which again, from that image, just from the color, because it's purple, it seems like it might be Brainiac, which I think is very fucking cool. But
I don't know how much of this is. It might be like if he's already got some damage on him, like on the suit. I don't know if you could see like the wear on.
Yeah, it's dirty. It's dirty.
Yeah, it's been blasted with stuff. He's wearing the trunks. He's wearing the red shorts, and yeah, I mean he looks like fucking Superman. Like, and they should
but also he looks like he's not interested in what the fuck is happening. It's the weirdest. He looks so weird. It's like again, the image looks great. I'm just talking about what's going on.
This isn't the scene from the movie. This is a shot on set of him getting dressed. That he's not reacting to. This isn't like in action. This isn't like action.
I feel like they set up the wrong shot for this. The wrong backdrop. I feel like because everybody's comment on the internet is not, wow, look at Superman, look at the suit. It's like, why is he?
Because he's not acting. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Of course, it's not. It's a set. It's shot on set.
It's the Superman version of the "This Is Fine" dog.
Yes.
Yeah. That's very
fine.
funny.
We're fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Everything. We're just putting on one shoe at a time. That's how the world feels right now. Just one super boot on the time.
So
everything goes to hell outside.
It's there in the comments. Yeah.
Speaking of everything going hell on the outside, that's why I wanted to circle back actually to the Met Gala, because I didn't actually get into the weirdness that was the Met Gala last night. Do you have any idea, as someone who tries to be politically aware and also someone who likes pretty things, how weird the dichotomy of my social media algorithm was last night? Or like yesterday, last yesterday, where in one hand I have best dressed and all these amazing like behind the scenes things of like all these people in the Met Gala and all this, and then in the other hand, everything that's happening over in the Middle East at the same exact moment.
Yeah. It's like the Hunger Games.
100%. It was
straight up the Hunger Games.
It was so District 1. It was so. That's all I could think the entire time. Straight up, the entire time, I'm like, oh look, it's the Capitol. Oh look at this. Like I'm like seeing this picture of Zendaya with her like gorgeous, massive outfit, and then like screaming mothers and children, and I'm just like,
live stream on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's
insane. It's insane.
Do you remember the movie Wag the Dog?
Yes, with Robert De Niro. Yes.
Yeah, where it's
Dustin
like
Hoffman.
Yeah, it's one of those.
It's
things
not a musical.
Not a musical. But it's very much like they manufacture a fake war to distract from like a social media. Like social media has become so like we're so used to seeing it that we're desensitized to the fact that there's like fucking war going on. But it's like that where you're just like, oh, look at the pretty dress. Oh, look at the atrocity. Oh, look at the makeup. Look at the atrocity. You know, it's like it's just a little sprinkled atrocities in all of our life. Like every moment of our life has a little atrocity dust on it. You know, like
there is a former president of the country that's on trial for hush money of a porn star, and there is nobody. Like the fact that it's not everybody. Like the fact that that Will Smith slapping Chris Rock took more airwaves than the former president of the United States on trial for hush money of a porn star. That's a like 10 years ago. 10 years ago, that would have been the only headline you talk about for fucking 6 months.
Oh, not only is it former president, he's the guy who's gonna be the nominee next time.
Oh yeah,
like that.
In 3 months.
That's crazy to me. That part is nuts to me. That he's
but the fact that nobody's talking about this, and 10 years ago that was unheard of. 10 years ago this would make the news. Like remember when Obama wore a tan suit? That was a thing. That made the news. He wore a tan suit, and now this guy's like, I'm on trial for hush money with a porn star. I'm running for president in 3 months.
Nothing makes sense, and the world is on fire. Thank you for watching, everybody. I gotta bounce. It's District 1, The Hunger Games, the dystopian future. Mad Max is coming.
It's outside my door.
Planet of the Apes. All of this. Dogs living with cats. It's mass mayhem.
That's true. This man does not have a penis.
This man does not have a penis. Thank you for watching, everybody. You can watch us live on Facebook. You can watch us on YouTube. You can join us in the comments. You can also listen to us on any podcast thing. Go search us up there. Follow me at Mike Mercadal. Follow at Mary Science. I'm sorry. Follow at Mary Science on all social media. Steph, is there anything you would like to promote on your social medias?
I'm literally just trying to run away from the leaf blower right now. I'm just trying to make every single day happen, one super boot at a time, guys.
Follow Down Under Landscaping, promoted by Stephanie Mayer Sr. And follow us.
That sounds just like a wax place.
It does, kind of. Follow at WuBro Pod on all the platforms. You can see it down there. Thank you for watching, everybody. That's how winning is done.